Hello, everybody. As you can see, I had to make an adjustment. I have never had a guest that just didn't show. Maybe there's some scheduling thing, but we're going to just proceed anyway. As you can see, I just messaged this literally 3 minutes ago, said, "Hey, you free?" And he's giving me the go ahead. We're going to pay some bills. And so now this has turned into the Sunday show. Yeah. So that means we want you to hit that subscribe button. I'm now at 428, which means I'm 72 away from 500. Hit that, obliterate that, smash that, destroy that subscribe button. Subscribing is literally free. Support me on Patreon. Patreon support helps me to get better lighting, to get eventually what I want is a desk and a microphone. So I'm not doing it on my bed because I think that's not professional. And I want to appear just a tad bit professional, but nothing crazy, but just to look a little bit better. You can also contribute to my GoFundMe page. And finally, you can contribute to the First Baptist Church North Drama Academy. We are still doing our summer camp, which is now turned into camp to academy, which means we're going to be year round now. Our goal is to raise $10,000 because plays are not free, and neither is my time. No, I'm joking, but seriously, I'm not joking about the need for support. Any amount is appreciated. Sis, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. No major complaints.
So I don't know what I know some things have kind of hit the news that I wasn't planning on talking about next week, but since we had this happen, we're gonna talk about them next week or this week today.
Sure.
Because I know you're gonna say I don't care.
It's
I
football.
definitely no, and thank you for reminding me because now this is the Sunday show. There are 50, yeah, there are 52 days. 52 days until the NFL comes back. I can see it. Like I can see those football helmets. I can see the football. I can see the goalposts. I can see everything. It's there. It's like within reach. The Hall of Fame game is the 6th. So that means preseason footballs come up, y'all. And then college football, it kicks off with all the historically black colleges playing that first week. Then the predominantly other universities that's not historically black, they play the week after. And then we NFL, and I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. So thank you for reminding me because I literally would have forgotten all about it. But I do want to talk about the Nolan Wells situation. I didn't get to it last week because I got distracted.
Which one was this? Because there's now been like two of very similar events.
Well, this is the young man, 18 years
It's the
old.
boat.
Yes, he was on the boat in Horn, Mississippi. Um, and there's a lot of questions that I'm still like, why?
You know
Um,
what?
I do, and that's the sad thing. It's like the amount of white privilege that's going on in this case, because I think it was Tim Black that said it. If this had been reversed, like a white person disappeared with their black friends, you'd have had 3 arrests immediately. Just immediately.
But the thing with that is it wouldn't be reversed. So respects to Tim, but that's a pointless comparison. Like the safest
Black
place.
people going black people gonna
That's
vote
not what I'm
trick.
saying. No, you're addressing something different. I'm saying it wouldn't be reversed because the safest place for a individual white person to be is in Black company. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't
we're
think
not
about
gonna
that like
we're
that.
not gonna take you. First of all, most of us who sit within the normative frame of Black culture, we ain't taking you camping. Because for those of us who
You mean
do go
voting,
camping, huh?
voting,
I
voting,
understand,
not
but we
camping.
ain't going boating at all. But if we do go, but the closest comparison I would draw would be like camping and fishing. Um, if we're gonna do something like that, yeah, you still fine, right? Like it's just like you can't flip it because, and this isn't me trying to place one superior to the other, even though when it comes to how we treat each other is a very clear comparison. Um, but we live in a society that is structured so that for generations we have been taught the cost for something happening to a white person in your presence is infinitely higher than the cost to them if something happens to a Black person in theirs. So, like, I get where people want to say, well, if the roles were reversed, but I think when you say when the roles are reversed, you can only use that, well, not only, but you can mainly use that for like gender comparisons, right? Something happened to a woman. Well, if the roles were reversed, we would act a different way. Yes, we would. And it's a fair thing to kind of flip it on its head. But the moment you introduce race into any discussion, you really can't rotate that thing back around because so much more comes into it, right? So many cultural rules and legal protections. And, like I'm a firm believer that as a Black person in America, I have every right that anybody else in America has. Right? My rights weren't given to me by a constitution. My rights weren't given to me by any group of men. My rights are my rights. And then the Constitution and the laws and all those things are written to tell people who want to get in the way of my rights what my rights were. But privileges, we don't have the same privileges.
No, we don't. We don't have the same privilege. And this is what it makes me because when I start asking questions, it makes sense to me that if Nolan went swimming, he wouldn't have his phone with him because he's going in the water. It would just make sense. But he would have it on the boat. How did he get separated from his phone? At
I
what
think we're
point?
asking the wrong questions
What do you mean I'm asking the wrong question?
because whether that young man has his phone with him or not, whether he's wearing a smartwatch or not, it shouldn't matter, right? Because that's literally almost irrelevant information. It only becomes relevant because we're trying to find a way to like rationalize this or figure our way through it. But people don't have to have a phone. They don't, what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing in
They
life that
don't
says you have
have
to have
to.
a phone,
But I mean, I'm raising that question because his mother was like, he was never without his phone.
right?
That's what his mama said. She said he
And
was
that's
never without
fine.
his phone. So I'm like, well, how did he get separated from the phone? And then why was his friends, they gave the mother the phone and there was nothing, there was no pictures on the phone, there was no messages on the phone. They were deleted. Now, of course, we know that you really can't, when you delete something, it's never truly deleted. It goes to
The cloud.
wherever it goes to. But then they start lowering up the four young men in question. They lawyer up, and again, they haven't been accused of anything. Um, they get rid of their social medias, they're lawyering up, and I'm like, well, if you say that no one was missing, why didn't you call the local police and say, hey, our friend is missing? Why did you have that long wait period?
So I'm trying to be fair because I know where most people are in these circumstances because I don't know why. Correction, because that's a That's like that was not a sincere. I don't know why. I do know why people continue to feign surprise or incredulity about these situations. But I'm like, come on, we know our history. We know our history. We know their history. We know Mississippi, right? But you can't even lay this on Mississippi, to be honest with you. But we also know the climate that we're operating in right now. We also
Right.
know all these factors that are going on. We have random Black people suddenly committing self-deletion by hanging in public areas. That's not us. That's not what we do. But we know who does it to us. We have this situation with Nolan. We had the situation with the two brothers, and one of them didn't quite make it back. We have all these examples all around us, and yet year after year, generation after generation, we find ourselves here asking questions that we truly don't want the answer to because we already know the answer. We're just hoping that perhaps by expressing the question, we can plead with whatever force is outside of us to somehow intervene, stop this from happening, right? How did this happen? Why did this happen? It happened because this young man, this exceptional young man, was not taught that he is not the exception. And he was allowed to operate within a space that he was the foreigner in. And in a space in which he's a foreigner in that is openly hostile to him and his community. And while I'm not saying all people are bad or good, I am saying that you're raising your odds when you're operating in certain spaces in certain manners. So he could have gone on multiple trips with his family and nothing ever happened. And now this happens. Okay, I wasn't there. I can't say what this family did or didn't do to this young man, but I can say what you just said. You went with him. You were still out there. He didn't come back to you. Why didn't you alert the authorities there?
Yeah, that's what I did. I just
Anything
like
after that becomes
yeah, because like you said, that's what I'm getting at. Because I'm like, he's missing. You said he went off with a girl. The girl says no, he went back to the boat. The young lady that he was supposed to with, she's cooperating with police, and she says he definitely did not go back with her. That he went back on the boat with them. Something happened in there, and this whole thing, you know, I have criticized Ben Crump for a lot of things, but this I will not criticize him on. I'm glad that they're launching a separate investigation. Um, and my sister actually pointed out something to me that I didn't even think of. The prosecutor is putting this to a grand jury. And I said, well, wait a minute, grand jury, that usually means that somebody's getting charged. Because you don't have, but the way the media is reported was like, oh, it was a tragic accident. Well, then you wouldn't be going to a, well, then the prosecutor says grand jury, which makes me think, oh, there's some charges coming, whether it
well,
was negligence or intentional. Some charges are coming, but the media is saying, oh, this is just a tragic accident.
I would caution you and those of our community. Um, I'll put it like this. How much faith do you have in law enforcement in general to conduct a open and thorough investigation?
I don't. That's why I said I'm glad there's a separate
So,
investigation going.
bear with me. Bear with me. So we know that, and now I'm going to just fill in some blank stuff, and you can tell me if you don't agree with me. But we know that police have been, especially when there's a racial component, have been proven to be biased in how they report the incident, how they address the incident, and how they respond to the incident. We know this for a fact. We also know that the court system is not structured to favor justice for our members of our community under any circumstance, but even less so when the accused is a white person. That doesn't mean we don't ever get justice. I'm just saying odds are not working well. They're not equal across groups. We also know that having a special prosecutor at the state level, I live in Georgia. I live where Ahmaud Arbery was murdered. And that was where local authorities first did the investigation. And we know what went on there. And it took Atlanta to come in for the investigation to finally get moving. So I'm saying all these things because remember, this happened in Mississippi. So Mississippi is the Old South. Does that mean it can't deliver justice? No, that's not what it means. It means that the odds of it are very low. So they can do a grand jury. But what is the result of a grand jury? We don't know until it comes out. And you can structure that grand jury to do whatever you want. So you can say that we launched the investigation. We just simply couldn't come to the point where we could place charges on this family. So that's what I'm saying. Dial back, pull back, and wait and see what comes. Because just because they said they're going to do a grand jury, it doesn't mean they're going to do charges. It could actually be put together to avoid bringing charges, right? It's to present to the wider viewing audience, hey, we tried, right? There just wasn't anything there.
I didn't think about it like that, because when I hear grand jury, I'm like, oh, it's going to be some charges that are coming.
No, that's also how you exonerate someone before you have to drag them through the process of being charged. We just say we couldn't find the stuff to do anything. So I'm just saying that that's super important for us to always keep in context. What is our relationship with the American justice system? And if you keep that in context, it will help temper any expectations. If it works out like it's, I don't know what it's supposed to, I don't know. But if it works out in an accurate and open and thorough way, great. But that has not been our experience. And then you say, okay, well, wait a minute. That's at the state level, right? The Mississippi version of in Georgia, we call it the GBI, right? Georgia Bureau of Investigations. They probably have an MBI or something like that. Okay, so they come in and they do their thing and they, whatever. It's still state level. And it's Mississippi, and this is not a poor family. This is not an unconnected family. And then, okay, so now what? The feds come in. Trump's federal Department of Justice.
Yeah, that's what I just thought. I'm like,
for as a Black person or as part of the Black community, we've always had a not good relationship with law enforcement in this government, period. But we at least could hope for a more fair outcome or a fair process. We don't ever know we're going to get outcome. We always could hope for a more fair process if the feds were involved.
Well, again, I don't, maybe this is my point of view. I don't really care what the Georgia prosecutor, I'm more interested in what the independent investigation is going to find. Because what I'm hoping does not happen is that they find two different things. Because I think that will lead to a lot of unrest if they just find two different things.
So I would say this, and it pains me to say this, but there's a reason. I'm much more, if you notice, I'm much more presenting myself as part of my company and not less and not as much as complex. That's one reason, guys out there, if you've been looking for my videos, I haven't had one lately because I am trapped. I am trapped right now because it's like it's hard for me to talk politics in this time, and it's hard for me to work on some of my more positive projects during this time. Right, it's very hard for me. So I'm kind of stuck. That's why I haven't put out new content. But this investigation is going to do whatever it's going to do. As far as unrest, there won't be any. If anything, no matter how this shakes out, if anything, there will be localized protests in Mississippi. There might be a few, like in some of our big cities, where we're just showing our signs of support. But as far as like actual unrest, this won't be what does it. Because as far as how we're processing it, and I hate to say this about us, but it's just what it is. The way we're processing this is it's one more event that we fully expected. We know the nature of what we're up against. We know the nature of the people we're up against. And you sent your child. Hindsight's 2020, so I'm not blaming the parents. But what I'm saying is how the community looks at this event. Is this young man, for lack of a better term, was lynched. As far as we're concerned, it don't even matter what the facts come out. It does not matter. This man could have been walking back to the boat, decided to swim to the boat instead of walking all the way and drowned on his way, and that's how he died. It doesn't matter at this point. At this point, far as we are concerned, something happened to this man, this young man, this baby, as far as we're concerned, and that's where we are. So it's just one more on the tally board. And eventually, when we react, it'll be because we were forced to. It won't be because we chose to rise up, or no, we will have to be forced. It will be when they come after us, which unfortunately looks like it's coming. But in the meantime, it's one more of our young people that was sacrificed to America.
Yeah, and that's like I said, I'm hoping that the two investigations find the same thing, because I don't want any questions, whether it was intentional, accident, whatever the results are. My hope is that they both find the exact same thing, and we can kind of watch it.
We
You
don't live in
said
that
you had.
time though. We don't live in
I'm
that
sorry,
time though,
what?
Tracy. But we don't
I
live in that
know.
time though. Like, it doesn't matter
I
what comes out. We've already decided what our narratives are. It doesn't matter what comes
I
out.
know. I'm just like, but I hope. I just want people to wait for the. I'm more interested. Like I said, I'm more interested in the independent autopsy, what it finds, and let's just go from there. That's all I'll say. Now, you said you hate talking about politics, but I got to talk about politics.
No, I don't
Um,
hate talking about politics. I'm struggling. I'm struggling
I
right
know,
now.
yeah, but you can really struggle on this one because it's about the Congressional Black Caucus. Okay, I, I I'm trying, because this caucus originally was formed and purposed to advance the plight and the economic structure of Black people. And let me tell
Were
you what,
they? I know what they were put
I'm
together
talking
for.
about the original. I'm talking about way back in the 70s. I'm talking about way back then. I'm not talking about what they are now. I'm talking about what they was
No,
then.
I'm just saying what they were put together for. That's just the Black people. Just as a quick thing, Congressional Black Caucus exists within the House of Representatives. Okay,
It does.
and what, 400 plus members of the House of Representatives? Probably 30, 40 Black people.
Yeah, they've got a lot of
Right?
members. They're the largest caucus in Congress.
Yeah, but they exist because they couldn't
They
exist
are,
elsewhere.
I get that, but let me make my point. Let me make my whole point. There is a Senate race in Michigan. And last week, your comment about somebody put her in a room between Haley APAC Stevens, and no, I'm not going to try to pronounce the gentleman's name because I'm going to get it wrong, and I don't want to disrespect the young man's name. But he's running as the Democratic Socialist, and they're both Democrats, but she's APAC funded. He's not APAC funded.
Is this the
Our
Michigan guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Sahi, yeah, I can't
Syed?
pronounce it. Yeah,
Just
I
Syed.
just
That's
can't.
all I got. Okay.
Yeah, I try, and when I fail, I just like, you know what? Nope. So the Congressional Black Caucus says that they're against racism. Yet, and they're against, the destruction of Black people and da 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 da. Considering that Black and Palestinians have not exact um, trajectories and histories, but similar. They're more under apartheid system. We're more under different one, but that's just a cut and chase. Why is the Congressional Black Congress endorsing Haley Stevens. If they're about what they say they're about, because originally they were for reparations, they were for economic empowerment, they were for lifting Black people out of poverty, those type of things. You would think they would endorse Syed, but no, they endorse APAC Stevens, and I, I'm not understanding their logic. I'm not understanding. I'm just not understanding.
So part of the answer is in your question. So to be in Congress and to definitely be like what I would call a seat filler and a what do you call it when you control gatekeeper, which is what in my view the Congressional Black Caucus and all these little different caucuses they all are, right? So they get to wear the uniform, but they don't really have to do anything. Their job is to sit still and gain a few favors here and there for their little district. And what happens beyond that is just, sorry, I couldn't do it. There's only 12 of us, but at least they can funnel some money, like Clyburn is notorious for this, right? So I look at this and I say, okay, I heard someone actually speak on this. I just didn't follow this tightly because I didn't care as much. But first, Syed, he's not African American.
No,
so the Congressional Black Caucus has no allegiance to him
but
anyway.
remember, they endorsed Hillary. Hillary's not Black.
That's not what I'm saying. But you were making a Black positioning as part of your question. So I'm just saying. So I'm just saying that he's not Black. I don't even know who she is. Is she Black?
No.
Okay. So on that part, you got to take that out. And then now we're just looking at why would this group of Congress people choose this person over that person? Well, this group of Congress people are overwhelmingly, if not entirely, corporate Democrats. So corporate Democrats love getting money from APAC and other similarly aligned groups. Corporate Democrats, regardless of color, that's what they are. That's what they do. And to my understanding, Stevens is like somehow associated with Congress. I don't know if she's in Congress, wasn't in Congress. I don't know.
She's in Congress.
Okay,
Yeah,
so she's a colleague. So she's a colleague. So that automatically puts her in a different bucket than the guy coming in from the outside. And then the guy coming in from the outside is also openly DSA. That in and of itself probably wouldn't be a problem, except that DSA is gaining a foothold in various areas around the country. So they are DSA in and of itself is not a threat, because I don't believe that they're a threat to anybody, but they are a complication to how things get done. So this is an immune response. We're looking at bought and paid for elitist people. We just happen to be looking at the Black ones, and that's what's happening. Like I think literally in this case, it ain't about color. It only becomes about color because we're talking about the CBC, and we're only talking about the CBC because we are Black, right? But the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, ain't nobody asking them who they picking. The Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, ain't nobody asking them who they're picking. They're always looking at us because we are the wedge. If you can make us look bad or you can make us look different, then you have the story that you need and you can get everybody upset.
But here's what I'm going to say, and I've said it on my show before. I am not Asian. I am not Hispanic. I'm not any of those. I'm Black. I'm always be Black. I'm blackity black,
Yeah,
black, black. So I'm always going to focus in on, especially this group, because this group says it has my interest as a Black person in mind. And you're doing contrary to what you say, as not
No,
you,
they're not.
but you as the Congressional Black Caucus. Well, like you're going against what you say you believe.
They're not. They're not. Because what they're saying, one, they try to say as little as possible, so you can't really say what they believe. And then two, they're not even having to choose among Black people. Like that's not even part of the issue here. So now they can, with a clean conscience, just look at how does this help me? And they're looking at it and say, well, it does not help me as a corporate Dem to choose a DSA guy over another corporate Dem. It doesn't help me.
But I'm saying, here's my argument, and I get what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying.
I'm just pushing back on this ain't us, and stop using us as a wedge, because that's how they use you to get at us.
This group says, hey, Tracy, you're Black, we're Black, and we're in Congress. We're going to have your back. I mean, this is what they tell us. My thing is,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
My thing is, well, okay, would you then make the leap and say, hey, apartheid, which is what was, started, it was in South Africa. You could even say it was here in America. Yeah, I know. I just said you could literally say it was in America. You wouldn't speak about the apartheid against the Palestinians because you're getting money from AIPAC?
No, but why?
How much money are they getting from AIPAC? Like, this must be like millions, because they just like zip.
No, you are focused on the Palestinians. That's you. I'm gonna tell you right now, like, as a part of the Black community, we empathize with the Palestinians. We empathize with the South Africans, but we understand that we are not them. Their stories are comparative, because you can draw the lines. And if you really want to follow the line, it'll take you back to where you should be, in my view. You should be looking, which is Europeans. Europeans, no matter where you find them, Australia did it. The Afrikaners in South Africa did it. The Belgians did it in Congo. England is still doing it. They're fighting Haiti and everybody else that they used to dominate. The European is the culprit here. Okay, they impose apartheid structures. They impose apartheid structures no matter where they are on this planet. Okay, so from the standpoint of the Congressional Black Caucus, and I'm not a fan of theirs, but I'm just saying, look at them for what they are, not what you've layered on top of them. They are there to be Congress people in America. So the Palestinians are not their constituency. They're not. And the constituency here in America that is obsessed with the Palestinian struggle is a small part of who puts money in their pocket. So they're looking at AIPAC and the defense industry, which does make sure that they don't have somebody who runs against them in a primary. They make sure that they got an infrastructure that's running 24/7, so they don't have to manually do it. These other entities are making life easier for these hand-picked, kept Negroes, so they're going to protect their own interests. I just wish that more people would stop conflating what's happening over there with the interests over here. You want to help what's happening over there? You want to help the Palestinians? Because I do. You want to help what's happening around the world? Then you need to get better people in Congress. And you need to get a better president. But when it comes time for people to decide who they put in Congress and who they put in the presidency, they go to sit at home, not vote, or throw their vote a different way. And that's fine. You can have your principal positions all day long. I'm actually at that point now. But what I'm saying is I'm doing with my eyes open. You will not find me turn around and saying that the CBC should be doing like heroic work. That's not who they are. These are the Black people that wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire.
And that's what makes me, I think that's what's the part that's making me the angriest, right? Because I look at, because my Congress person is black. He's been there. Now, he didn't sign along with Haley Stevens. He did not endorse her. But he's been there, what, 12, no, 13, no, this is either is his 14th year or it's his 16th year.
Long
Because
time.
that's a long time. I can't name bill. He finally introduced a bill. Like finally. Like, okay, good. And he co-sponsored the bill that would restrict funding to Israel that has no chance of passing out of Congress. It's just not going to pass. Wish it would,
But he
but
did
it's not
something.
going to happen. He did so, yes, but you know what it took? People calling his office be like, "Hey, bub, you need to be doing something
Yes.
because you you just sitting here and not doing something." So I wonder, like when I hear Hakeem Jeffries, yeah, I don't know who's worse. Hakeem, I still have this poll in my head going. Who's the worst Obama impressionist, Booker or Jeffries? I still got to go Cory Booker. He's still to me the worst. But Hakeem, Obama wannabe Jeffries, calling Israel the sixth borough is more egregious to me than I'm like, and y'all keep sending them back.
People worried about the wrong thing. Hakeem Jeffries saying that, first of all, are we going to in any way pretend that the Jewish community is not deep in New York City?
It is. I'm not.
Right? So calling that the sixth borough, it's just what it is, right? Like it affects New York politics, how you
Which
speak
is
of
what.
and engage with the nation of Israel. It's the
Yeah,
truth.
but that's why he was so upset when Mandami cleaned clock. One, when he got
Yes.
elected, and then
Mm-hmm.
when he got all of his endorsements turned around and won.
Yeah, because Mamdani is, I'm willing to bet Mamdani is repellent or repugnant to a lot of these Democrats because he is still what they believed themselves to be long ago. And they told themselves they have to become a part of the system so that they could then change the system. And then came into the system and got distracted and became the system. And then this young person comes in, young, he's in his 30s, but this young person comes in and he starts to change things fast.
Yes.
So he's doing what they thought they were sent there to do, but they stopped doing it because they started to believe it wasn't possible or it wasn't possible. And then you become acclimatized to the environment in which you are. So Mamdani, because he went in as a mayor, he's doing mayor things. I guarantee you almost, if he had gone in as a legislator, he would have basically faded into the ether
He
because
was,
that's what it's
yeah.
built to do.
You know, he was a legislator, though.
If he's a state rep, I'm saying people are looking at him and they're expecting him, you're expecting like a Jeffries to operate like a Mamdani, and they're two different jobs.
No,
And
yeah,
so,
right. Yeah, he
but
can't, like,
Jeffries is a problem all by himself. I mean, he is. Him, Richie Torres,
wait a minute.
you
We
name
don't
them.
not mention Richie Torres because look, I don't cuss, but Richie Torres, he get me about this close. Richie Torres is garbage. I want to move to New York just so I can vote against Richie
What
Torres.
would help? What would help you, your blood pressure, and everybody
Yeah,
else
I'm just like, nah,
is
let's
uh,
just don't even mention
no,
because
no, no. You can mention them, but I think it would be so helpful to everyone if you stop personalizing all of this, right? That individual is a part of a thing, of an organism. So look at them as a group.
That's
And then you can go and say, this is the type of Democrat that I can't get behind. Now, in your case, you can't get behind any Democrat, right? Except for Mamdani, because right now he's an insurgent. So he's attractive to you guys. So you're willing to be like, yeah, Mamdani, he's doing this. And why can't more people be like him? It's because he's convenient to you guys right now. But soon as I guarantee you, pretty soon, many of your side will start to criticize him heavy because he'll stop being impressive.
Criticizing him now. What are you talking about? He's getting criticized now by people on the extreme left because they feel like, well, why did he just run as an independent? And I'm like, well, you have to understand how New York City works in terms of running as an independent candidate. They've made it nearly impossible for a third party candidate to run for an office. So it would, to me, sometimes I know my other show, I only interview third party candidates, but in his particular case, it made more sense to run as a Democrat than as an independent.
I don't see why this is so hard for people to understand, because one of the people I don't know what this far left thing is, because to me, that is conservative verbiage that we're accepting, which then allows them to call you an extremist. Let's just be real. So I would strongly suggest those of you who are on the left, stop trying to identify yourselves as being far left, because you're just setting yourself up. You can be wherever you are ideologically and politically, but be conscious tactically of what you're saying and claiming to be, because you have to always remember we are swimming in this stew and they're not playing with you. But the thing with that, like, he could have gone independent or whatever. I get
I don't think he would have gotten nearly, he wouldn't have gotten anywhere. And that's the hard thing.
But that's just it.
The hard thing. Yeah, that's the hard thing that we have to face, is we have to work to change the laws.
Not even that. You do have to get to the point where we can change laws. We do have to do that. We have to do that. But we have to be more realistic, man. Like, you hear me say this all the time. Like, stop living in make-believe land and expecting reality to match it. It's foolish. It won't get you anywhere. I mean, out there, y'all won't get it nowhere, because here's the thing. If you just want a moral position, you just want to be able to say, I said the thing, then fine. Run independent, run third party. You can go out there and you can make your moral argument and you can say, I was on the right side of history, but you were completely inconsequential. Or you can look at it at big y'all's hero, which helped shift the dynamic politically in America, Bernie Sanders. And you can look at it and say, Bernie Sanders, he laid out the blueprint. And instead of continuing to follow the blueprint, people I don't even know how to describe what folks are doing. It's bananas to me.
Yeah, I think one of the things we do, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I know I'm guilty of this. We move the goalposts a lot.
Constantly.
We literally move the goalposts. So we'll say it meant like I did. I literally came here and said, yeah, I was wrong. I mean, y'all do not know how hard it is for me to say I'm wrong about something. That was hard for me. But it had to be done, because what Mandami is proving, we have to come to, I'll say it this way. We in third parties have to be okay with the policies being enacted and not caring about who makes those policies a thing. Right? We say, and I say this all the time, I'll use this example. If Trump signs reparations, good. Does that make Trump a great president? No, it doesn't. It just makes him a president that signed reparations for the descendants of African slaves. I care more about the policy than who signs it. And
right now, that's not where you guys are operating from.
No, we're not. We're operating and we want it to be us. And I'm like, no, we need to care about the policy and not about who's doing it. Now, do I think Mandami goes far enough? No. But what he's done, one, he's proven that yes, you can actually do stuff. Like you can literally do stuff. You can turn a deficit into a surplus. You can provide free schooling for 2-year-olds. You can build government supported grocery stores. You can do all of these things and you don't have to wait 20 and 30 years to be like, oh, we're in the sweet by and by and we got to work and collect. No, he's proven you can actually do stuff. And
But he
instead
ran
of
as a
being,
Democrat.
and I get that. And that's why I said we, and myself included, we've got to come out of that. We've got to be more policy focused and getting the policies intact and not caring that a Democrat, because Republicans, they not about nothing because they're not going to do nothing. We have to care more about the policy. I don't know how we get to that point, but I do see it because it's like, well, he ran as a Democrat, but did he have a choice? Because if he had ran as,
He
let's
did.
just say he ran as a member of the Green Party. No, if he had became mayor of New York, you're talking about lawsuits. You're
Well,
talking
no,
about
yeah,
somebody's going to court to sue because they not a Green Party candidate
because the
making the
infrastructure
ballot
wasn't
in New
there.
York City. It's not there. Now, what you could do if you're in New York and you're a member of the Green Party, you could start working with the mayor's office, reaching out to the mayor's office, and start working on ballot access and making getting on the ballot easier and working with the governor to reverse her bill that she signed. Or no, it was Cuomo that actually signed it. So she was signing a bill and effectively enacting that. That's what you could do. But yeah, I just want us to be more policy focused and stop
My
caring who did it.
my challenge to everyone, because I know a lot of times it sounds, and I know because I hear myself and I come back and I listen to our segments and stuff, and it sounds like I'm defending Democrats, and I'm not. I I am I'm black. Okay, that's my politics, y'all. I'm black. And so when I look at that and I look at the beautiful and troubled and complicated history of my community, we know that you have to make pragmatic decisions. We know that sometimes you have to support something that you know doesn't fully support you because it's better than the alternative. We know what it is to use building blocks to build a stair to get to the next step. We know these things. So that is how I come at these things. So I'm looking at a Mamdani and I'm looking at Mamdani and I'm like, I'm not overly impressed because he's just doing what he's supposed to do. But the main reason I'm also not impressed with him is because I'm looking at the people who have religiously, repetitively turned against people like him the moment it's convenient to do so. And so I look at it and I'm like, this doesn't matter. He's done some good things in New York. But he is literally building off of what some people's political savior, Bernie Sanders, laid out. And those same people are I hear them criticizing Bernie for not being radical enough or whatever. Nothing will make a person happy when all they have are criticisms. It's all they do. Just criticize.
Um,
And I'll put it like this: one little thing. Mamdani, is he doing all the things that people say he could do? I don't know what people
Probably
expect him
not.
to do. I don't know what people expect him to do because guess what? If he makes a decision, that affects somebody's job, somebody's paycheck. He has constituencies, he has layers of responsibility and concern that we don't have to deal with. So we can sit here and
That's
be
true.
moralistic about all kinds of stuff. But he can't go in there and just swing the big stick because we know what it looks like to have somebody who swings the big stick. We got him in office
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, I think that's the thing too that third party people like me think, and we've got to stop this. We want a third party candidate like Trump,
You do. You
and
want your own
I'm like,
Trump.
we want our own version like that wants health care, that wants that wants all these things, but just like we want the good, we want that personnel. Like I'll do what I want, and I'm gonna be a dictator,
And
and I'm
that's why
gonna
I
be a
resist.
fascist. Yes, exactly. And I think that needs to be discussed more because I think we are doing ourselves a disservice by thinking that way. And I'm saying we because I'm putting myself in it because I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't really mean to come off like that because I think about my show and I'm like, well, why are you running? Some of those people, I'm like, yes, go. Some of them, I'm like, you ain't got a chance in the world, but that's okay because what I think doesn't matter. I'm just having them on to talk about their campaign. But I think they've all fallen into that same trap that I have. We want our own Donald Trump, but just for the left.
Yes.
We
And I
want somebody to
resist that
come.
wholeheartedly.
You should, but I'm saying we have to get out of that, right? We have to stop wanting that and desiring that. There's something in us that says, yeah, that's not the way to go.
I know what it is. I can help people understand what it is. It's the simple fact that you want a fighter. And you're so tired of seeing what is arrayed for you to, like, you're told, because we're all told the same thing, that if you don't want to be like the Republicans, you need to follow the Democrats. And that's the only message that we get told. And so that goes against everything that a lot of us believe in, because we look at the Democrats and we be like, they couldn't win a fight anywhere. Okay.
Well, then, let
So,
me backtrack. They don't want to win a fight. They
well,
fight when they want to.
they do. And then they go sit down. Right. So it's hard to get
They write
behind them.
strongly worded letters.
Schumer is a whole nother issue. Schumer's a whole nother issue.
Boy, did you just say, I don't want to say boy because he's like old enough to be my grandfather. But dude, did you just say you wrote a letter? No, you didn't say you wrote a letter.
That's why I say we got to zoom out. If you zoom out a little bit and then look back at it, you'll understand that y'all there's no reason to focus on Schumer because you know what Schumer is. Right?
He wrote a letter, though, Fizz.
Right, because he doesn't advocate for anything but his own personal interest and that of what he believes his allegiance is to Israel as he sees it. He doesn't even look at the politics of Israel. You can tell, just follow the dude a little bit. He's not worried about the politics of Israel. He follows Israel. So for him, he's an extreme Zionist. And if there's a bad set of leadership in Israel right now, that's just unfortunate. But I still got to follow the nation because that's the nation, right? So if you understand that's how he moves, then you understand why he doesn't push back in Trump that much, why he's quiet so often, why the only time he speaks up is when he's trying to raise money for either keeping his people in there with him or making Israel happy. You understand that that's his motivation, right? So then, you can kind of factor him out. Jeffries is the same thing, right? Jeffries, I don't think is a Zionist, but Jeffries is an extreme opportunist, and he's focused on the money. So that's what he does. But all that aside, going back, what I was going to say is the danger, and you hit on it earlier. People on the left that cannot identify with the Democrats in any way. They are so tired. You guys are so tired of what you think is losing. You're not actually losing, but it's the lack of progress and change. It's so disgusting and so revolting that you're having an emotional response to it. That's why when you get pushback from me, guys out there, and I'm like, what's your plan? And you never can give me one. That's when I know you're operating out of emotion. Because if you actually were thinking through things, you could actually lay out a full plan. And you would actually say, okay, well, if we did do this, then this would happen. And this is how we would address that. Right. But instead, what I get is we should do this. Okay, well, what happens when they push back? I don't know. What? That's not a plan. Right. So long as we're stuck in that emotional mode, we're going to be looking for a hero. We're going to be looking for a hero who we just can trust has a plan. And then that person, that becomes your blue Trump. right? Like he's going to come in, he's going to get his universal health, he or she is going to get his universal health care, going to get us criminal justice reform, is going to get us out of foreign entanglements, is going to bring the Department of Defense under control, is going to make Israel no different than any other nation on the planet, and we'll assess how we fund them or not fund them on that basis, right? We want that person, but at the exact same time, we want that person to completely ignore everybody on the right. We want that person to completely ignore every conservative and every MAGA that's walking the earth like they did us. And I'm like, dude, that's a problem.
It is a problem. And I 100% agree with you. But we got to get to this subject. And Lord knows, I am not a fan of the person that I'm talking about next. But I think what's happening to Mitch McConnell is elder abuse.
I think it's American abuse. They're abusing us.
Well, let me finish. So, at minimum, well, no, let me just tell people what's going on. The governor of Kentucky says that he's received 2 reports that Mitch McConnell is no longer with us, but has yet to call for a special election. So my question has been, we'll call for a special election then. Because according to what I just found out on Google, because Google is my friend in this case, I said, hey, the governor of Kentucky cannot appoint somebody to fill Mitch McConnell's seat. He cannot do that, cannot do that, cannot do that, cannot do that. But what he could do is make a proclamation that the seat is vacant. And if Mitch McConnell is actually in the land of the living, Mitch McConnell will say, hey, I'm at the ABC Rehabilitation Center. Why don't you come down and talk to me? But we've seen pictures of Mitch McConnell looking somehow 10 years younger than what he looks like. We've seen medical equipment in his room that he's not attached to. We've seen him in the same clothes. We've seen his wife suddenly appear from overseas. And this is making me question. I know why the Republicans are doing what they're doing. It makes sense to me because they're trying to delay it so that August 3rd passes and his seat doesn't come up for a special election. Get it, got it done. But what I can't understand is why the Democratic governor of that state simply won't say, hey, we're going to have a special election. He doesn't need the Kentucky Congress to do it. He could literally just do it. I can't, in my mind, get that straight. And I figured you could talk me down and make it make sense because it's not like my mind isn't making sense of it. Like
I think the answer is exactly what you think it is. The Democrats don't know how to fight, and they're motivated by something other than what we think they should be. Because I don't think that he's calling the shots here. I think that the Democratic Party has decided how they're going to navigate this period going into the midterms, and they're trying to do a cost-benefit analysis. And they're like, okay, we can push this issue, but then how does that affect other races that we're trying to win? And how does it do this and that? Because they're not motivated by what motivates us. This Kentucky governor, technically, he shouldn't be beholden to anybody, but he's there because the Democrats put him there. So he is beholden. So, yeah, I'm with you. Like, it stinks to high heaven. It's 100% what Republicans do. That doesn't make it right. In fact, it makes it thoroughly wrong. This is what they did to Obama, why he couldn't have his Supreme Court justice. This is what they did at the end when they pushed Amy Coney Barrett in anyway, right? All of this is Mitch McConnell's machinations. This is consistent with what he would have wanted done. So he would have already laid out, this is what you do if something happens to me, or his team already knows what to do. So the Republican Party is doing with
that's what I said. I'm like, yeah, they made
but
their
the Democrats
totally 100%.
Yeah, but it's wrong, and the Democrats should be calling it out for that, and they shouldn't be playing their own cynical game, and that's what we're all smelling. We're all smelling the cynical game that the Democrats are playing because they're looking at the clock and they're saying, okay, we know that if we're going to contest this, We have to do it before the 56 days before the next election. So
August 3rd.
So as long as we make our decision at day 50, right? So we're going to play this game and hope to see that something breaks so it doesn't end up looking like we're the bad guys. So we're going to ride this out. And they're going to get as close to August 3rd as we can possibly get. And the reason why they want to do that, I'm not 100%, but my suspicion is because it also benefits them to wait to the last minute, because at the last minute, they can start to like force who they want into that conversation. And then the Democrats in that state don't have any chance to air out the person that the Democrats put in front of them. And the Republicans are so disgusted by what just happened with McConnell that enough of them will vote for the Democrat. So they'll be able to force feed us.
But here comes the monkey in the wrench, because Kentucky has a Senate race going. And this is what I think, and it goes right what you said. They have somebody, now when I say this is one of the maybe 4 Democrats I actually admire. It's not a whole lot of them on my list, but Charles Booker is probably one of the few Democrats I would, if he ran for president, I would literally vote for him. No question.
That's because you keep getting persuaded by these personalities, man. I'm
just saying.
Keep burning you.
But I'm just saying, I'm trying to say there's at least there's 5 Democrats I like. He happens to be one of them. He's running in a very tight race against a Republican opponent. It's very, very close.
For what seat?
United States Senate.
Okay. So are both Kentucky seats up?
No, Mitch McConnell is retiring. He was supposed to just retire this year. Rand Paul, his seat is up in 28.
Gotcha.
So the Booker Barr race, I think his last name is Barr. That race is very close. My contention is they don't want Charles Booker, because Booker has said, if I get in there and the Democrats have majority, I will vote to remove Trump from office. Like, he's made that his whole campaign.
Yeah.
Like, he's like,
he says that. We'll see. But the thing is, you're right. They don't want him in there. The Democrats don't want him in there. The Republicans don't want him
because he wants to cut funding for Israel. He wants to cut money for Ukraine. He wants to get guaranteed health care. He wants to expand SNAP.
I don't think his positions are the reason.
I think his positions are the reasons they don't want him. They don't want him.
I don't think they want him because of how he rose. So he speaks for himself. He's very confrontational and intelligent. They don't want too many of those black.
Let me say that he's also black.
Yeah, they don't want too many of those black people in Congress, right? Because they found a way to get people. Yeah, they found a way to get Jasmine up out of there, right? So the type of black person that Congress likes to keep are much more mellow. Well, Tim Scott is his own creature because he's on the right, and that's just like, dude, for real. He's the dude on the boat. Tim, you're on the boat, bro. But anyway, but nobody would really be concerned. We actually were concerned about our baby boy who got, But yeah, they don't want Booker because he is kind of that same spirit as Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush and the DSA people who are rising.
Yeah, he's DSA.
But they don't. But he's DSA now. A year ago, the dude would have been progressive. You know what I'm saying? So
No, he's been DSA for a long time.
Okay. All right, fine. Sorry, Mr. Booker. But I think that he's dynamic, he's intelligent, he's absolutely qualified and a good fit. He's exactly what we need to see more of in Congress. But that's exactly why the machine don't want him.
Don't want him. Yeah, we can agree on that.
Kentucky is a sacrificial state. The Democrats do not look at Kentucky and South Carolina and say, we should get a senator in there. They don't care. Like they've written Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, like they've written those states off.
And they really should write Texas off, because if they think that the Democrats keep fooling y'all like they want Texas to be blue,
Keep
no, they
fighting for
don't.
Texas. Nah, keep
No,
fighting for
I'm
Texas.
not saying. No, they don't want Texas to turn blue. They don't want it.
They
They
didn't
do
want. They
not
didn't
want.
want Georgia to turn blue, and Georgia didn't.
I don't.
We got a lot of blue
Now,
people, but that's because of
we
Atlanta.
agree that they don't want Kentucky to turn halfway blue, because you still got Rand Paul in there.
Rand Paul is red as red gets.
That's what I'm saying. So you don't have. It's not like.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely agree with you. They don't want Charles, but they don't.
They
And
don't want him.
that's what I think it's about. Making him, getting him at first. The Democrats aren't contending for it. I think they would also be happy if Susan Collins maintained Maine.
I think
I
they'd be
don't
okay
think
with it. I think they'd be perfectly okay with it.
I don't think they're not putting any. I think what's happening in Maine is kind of unique, because the voters are saying, "No, nah, we tired of her."
Well, the voters are basically saying, I don't care what you give me. I don't want a Republican right now. That's what Maine voters are saying right now. So that's why Plattner, people are aggressively overlooking issues with him. It didn't even come out, the fact that this man is actually like wealthy. That didn't even come out until after he was like way sliding on the tail end there. People are across the country. That's why I keep saying that this would have been the excellent time, and I still think it's still a good time for third parties to congeal and become serious about what we want to accomplish. But America wants something different. And this is not a lasting thing. This is a reactionary moment. America is in a reactionary moment, and it's saying, ew, I want something else. So Trump was part of that. Because, see, the front end of all of this was Obama. America looked at how America has been through the 90s, and it said to itself, I'm tired of these wars. I'm tired of this. I need something different. And then the economy's tanking in 2008, and they're like, well, might as well go with the black guy. And he did a decent job campaigning, and he managed to survive it. And they were like, we'll try something different. And that was their first lurch. This is try something different. That finished. But America is racist. So America was like, let's go for the opposite of him. So then they swung back the other way, and they got the exact opposite of Obama. And they got Trump. And they're looking at that, and they're like, I don't like that either. So now they're trying to find something else. America is desperate for a change, and they will take any change you give them. And so anytime you come with the Democrats with their same old, I'm just going to show up and be quiet. And then you got the Republicans saying, well, you know, Jim Crow wasn't so bad. Right?
Where Ramaswamy said black people had it so well under Jim Crow. You do know you're not white. Do you not know this?
You got black people who say that.
What?
You got black people who say that. They get mad at me all the time. They say that dumb. I'm telling y'all, all y'all black people, to go ahead and blow up the comments. Be mad at me. It's stupid for you to say that we had it better during segregation. That is the dumbest, uninformed.
We couldn't even drink at the same water. Like, you
ain't about that. Ain't about that. Because you know what? I'm one of them black people who say, coming out of segregation, we did do it wrong. We went with integration and assimilation. We should have went for separation and independence, right? We should have been separate and apart like the immigrant communities do. We should have. We didn't. Okay, fine. Take exception with how we exited segregation. I'm with you there. But to say we had it better back then, well, families were closer together. We were poor. We had to be closer.
You know, it's like, we had to because we didn't have what?
They were hanging our family members from trees. They were burning down our businesses. They were doing all kinds of horrible
Our
things.
children received books that were so discharged and pages torn
It was
out.
terrible. It was horrible. Our housing had no code enforcement. So our houses were built on hope and ingenuity alone. Like segregation was a horrible time. But it was a time where we were more in community and more in lockstep because we had a shared struggle. Right now, we're trying to find our way to back together, but we don't know how because we can't identify our shared struggle. People come together naturally when things get bad, right? So as things get bad, they come together.
They making it seem like, yeah, let's go back to segregation. No, I ain't trying to go back.
Because they don't know. Because they don't know. And you know what's more dangerous about Black people not knowing about segregation? That lets you know that white folks don't know about it either. So they're going to pursue strategies and take actions that seem logical to them. And it will be harmful to us. But because no one is acting off of knowledge of the past.
The fact that Byron Donalds is going to be our second Black governor disgusts.
Yeah, whatever.
Disgusts me. I mean, when you want, that's another one you don't want to bring up the show because I'm just like, what?
Hey, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's a classic bootlicker. He is Clarence Thomas as governor. He is Tim Scott as governor.
He has $100 million in his war chest.
Right.
And he's going to be beholden to all those PACs. And
it's not about him. It's about the party he's representing. That's it.
It's the party he's representing. Absolutely, it's about the party he's representing. I mean,
that's why
he's a puppet. I mean, that's literally what he is.
He's a token, right? And then I'm like, it pains me that a loved one of mine will probably be living in Florida in the coming years. But whatever Floridians get, they deserve it. They deserve it, man, because you looking at it. The governor is a national election. That's not district votes. That's a statewide election. I'm sorry. It's a statewide election. So that means if you win,
Florida is a very large state. It has national implications.
It does have national implications, but I have misspoken because I said a national race, but it's a statewide race. But my point is, if Florida gets him as governor, that's their fault. Just like America got Trump as president. That's our fault. That's us. That's our fault. That is our fault. Eat it. And now we got to deal with it.
Unfortunately. And the last thing I want to talk about is a very sensitive subject. Speaking of Florida. First of all, I am not trying to disparage anybody that has substance abuse issues. Substance abuse is a very real thing for millions of Americans, but I have to talk about Andrew Gillum. Now, if you all don't know who Andrew Gillum is, he was the candidate in Florida that had ran for governor, and it just kind of went downhill after he lost to DeSantis, actually. He was recently arrested under charges that he had some drug paraphernalia, heroin. However, he passed the drug test.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it gets weird because the way the media reported it was like, oh, well, this guy, he messed up again and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then we're finding out he passed a drug test.
Mm-hmm.
So if he passed the drug test, where did the evidence in the car come from?
So first thing people need, this goes back to the very first part of our conversation. Why in the world are any of us placing any faith in anything the police say? I don't believe nothing they say. Nothing. I treat them with the same standard of responsibility that they treat us. Prove it. And the way you prove it is in the courtroom. Don't drag these people all out here in the streets. First of all, I don't even know about it. I shouldn't even know that Andrew was arrested. I shouldn't even know. The man didn't hold any political office. I should not have known that this individual, this public citizen, this private citizen, I shouldn't even know he got arrested. Okay. But I did because they decided it was something sensationalized. He was, ooh, hey, black folks, this is your black hope, wasn't it? Ooh, this your king, right? That kind of energy was used. And then, of course, we all pile in. Oh, there you go. He at it again. Okay, fine. Now y'all need to be just as loud about saying, it looks like something ain't right here.
Yeah, there's right? Something not right. It's just not. I'm like,
but that's why I keep saying, like, I don't trust the legal system. I don't. But I am saying that we need a legal system. We do have this legal system. Why are you prosecuting this man in public? You know, the only reason people want to know is because they're curious. They want to know. They don't care about Andrew. They don't care. Just like the girls who are part of the Epstein situation. Listen, I've been saying this for over a year now. Y'all don't care about these girls, these women. Y'all don't care. Because if you did, you'd be pushing for changes for all the girls and the women that are being prostituted and abused right now.
You better stay
your mom on all that. So they don't care about Andrew. They care about being entertained by what's happening to Andrew. So prove it. Prove it. And if you prove it, then there you go. You got him on trafficking or whatever you decide that it is. But
and we have to be careful, right? Because I almost fell into that trap. I'm like, oh, no, not again.
I did too.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And then something said, hold your horses. Mm-hmm. Hold up. And when something tells me to hold up, that usually means it's some green coming right around the corner. And right around that corner was, he tested clean. Mm-hmm. How does he test clean and these things were found in his car? Mm-hmm. How come we were vocal in our he's guilty, he's got substance abuse issues, he needs to go to therapy, he needs to have a talk with you. We were all vocal about that, but we're quiet on the he passed his drug screen. Like we're quiet on that, but we're loud on the.
It's an inconvenient part of the story because it gets in the way. Because like me, I was like, well, addicts do what addicts do, right? That was my position because I'm a person who believes that drug addiction is not a matter of willpower, right? I mean, when you introduce a chemical into your system, you have now changed the wiring in your system. So you're not dealing with whomever that was prior to having an addiction issue. You're dealing with now the person who has an addiction issue that they're trying to work through, right? They're not the same person. And you need to respect that they're not the same person and help the person that's in front of you. That's my view on the whole thing. So when I heard about it, I was like, well, you know, addicts do what addicts do. You know what I'm saying? But now we know that the man tested negative. Now, is that any more conclusive or anything else? No, maybe not. But it's inconvenient to the narratives all of us had started fashioning for this man. Because why? We lost the thread. We lost the thread that this is just a man. It's just a man. He's not there for our entertainment. He cannot disappoint us because he doesn't owe us anything. He is a man who is trying to navigate life. And this happens. And that's when I flare up and I'm like, why do we even know about it?
I think, you know, it's a worship type of mentality that we have as a society.
I think it's entertainment. We enjoy watching people fall apart.
Yeah, we do. But here's what I get to, because this is what we do with especially politicians. And I know I'm guilty of this one. We put politicians that we like, or even if we don't like them, we put them at a level where it's just like, oh, they're the most perfect person ever. Well, no, Tracy, there's only one perfect. They ain't none of them. But what we do is I did it with Bernie. I mean, I was literally like a Bernieite. I mean, literally everything he said, I listened to it. I was engrossed in it. And then they start showing their human side. The part of Bernie that said, I don't think we should have reparations. The part of Bernie that was okay for reparations for Jewish Americans, but not okay for reparations for Black Americans.
It wasn't perfect.
We ignored that because he was saying the message that we wanted to hear, which was healthcare. That was his main message. We ignored it when Obama ran to some extent, especially in the Black community. Because here was a Black man, even though his mother is white, but we was like, no way, he's looked Black enough.
He is a Black man. He is a Black man.
I didn't say he
is
wasn't.
A Black man.
I didn't say he wasn't.
But you did. You just did. Because you threw that extra qualifier, even though his mother is white. He's a Black man.
So his mother's not white.
No, I mean his mother's white. But what did that add to anything? Because you didn't say he's a biracial man. You said he's a Black man, even though I'm sorry, that's a divisive part in our community. So it just really
Okay, so here's what I will say about that, and I'll get to my point. I have never heard Obama say he's Black. Now I've heard Kamala Harris say she's Black. I've literally heard with my ears she say I'm Black. I've heard her say it. She said it several times. She said it in white spaces. She said it in Black spaces. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Is my shirt black?
Look here.
Is my shirt black?
Is that we in the Black community, we worshipped Obama. Don't tell me we didn't, because
no, we loved Obama.
We worshipped Obama.
We didn't worship Obama.
You gonna tell me some of these Black churches wasn't worshiping Obama?
I guarantee you they weren't.
I guarantee they were.
I would tell you that I'll tell you the churches don't worship Jesus. How about that?
I'm not gonna argue with you on that.
But they didn't worship Obama. Worship is saying let's go savior.
Worship is I'll vote for him. When Obama came out for gay marriage. You know how many times that was not mentioned in churches?
That's a part of the church problem.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't matter what he was saying. I'm saying, yeah, they did work. Oh, they did. It was like ridiculous.
I guess it's how you're using the word worship, because when you say worship, that's a religion.
Everything he said was right. He was the Messiah.
We were protected.
We
were very protective. And we needed to be.
I agree, we were protective. We should be. I'm not even saying we should be. And you know I ain't no Obama fan, but okay. He's got the complexion that needs the protection. I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm saying these Black churches, and some of them, which I attended one, they was worshiping Obama. I'm like, y'all got to be joking. Y'all's got to be joking. And I remember in 2008, sermons, because y'all do know that Barak is a biblical name. If you look in the book of Judges, Barak is a biblical name. I literally heard sermons on that name preached more than I had ever heard.
Him, bro.
That is literally worshiping him.
No, it's not. That's like saying people worship David just because all these messages in church are surrounding David. Huh?
People were worshiping him.
I'm saying no. Black people, the church don't worship David. They put him on a pedestal. I'll agree with you there. They put him on a pedestal. You know, it's like, ooh, it was very close to touch not my anointed. It's very close to the energy was going on. But anointed doesn't mean you are a deity.
No, but here's what I'm saying. I mean, I heard sermons comparing Obama to Jesus, which don't nobody, not me, not this.
The sermons comparing Trump to Jesus.
I'm not even disagreeing with you. I don't disagree with what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, it definitely happened. We definitely.
Okay. I'm saying there's definitely people out there on the edges that do stuff like that. That's cool. I'm just saying, but you don't put that on the community, because we did not worship Obama. But what we did do was we were overprotective and we were undercritical. And the reason that we did it, I understand the exact reason why we did it. But even at that time, I was telling folks this ain't what we need to be doing. He even told us, like Obama straight up told us, you got to push me. I need you to give me that energy to make me do what needs to be done. Not because I don't want to do it, but because I need y'all to make some noise. And what do? Don't you say nothing about him.
We had Mitch
You try to do a
McConnell
hard
say,
job.
we had Mitch McConnell literally say, you don't need reparations, you got a black president. He literally said that with his whole mouth.
Yeah, but that's a devil. That's a devil speaking. And understand, I'm not saying all white people devils. I am not saying that at all. But I am saying Mitch McConnell's a devil.
Was if you depending on what the governors heard. But I'm just saying, we like I said, I know I did it with Bernie Sanders. And like after he ran, I said, I will never do this again. And from that point on, it was like, oh, okay, they just people. And I think what's happening, Andrew, it shouldn't happen. As loud as we were on, he's got problems. We should be just as loud as saying, hey, he tested negative. And say that just as loud
We do
as we
at this point. Yeah, we need to. But what we really also need to do, that's what we need to do right now, because it's what accountability looks like, right? Be as loud in clearing somebody's name as you were in smudging it, right? But the other thing we need coming out of this is we need to learn from it. And I don't know that we will, because social media world, the current societal ways that we function, it makes it hard to do this. But we need to look at it and say, if one of our beloveds is in the light for whatever, we need to put a hedge of protection around that person until such time as the hedge needs to be removed. That's what we should be doing. And if you look at other communities, they do it all day long.
Every time.
We're the ones deep in the Bible, and yet we can't look at Job, we can't look at David and draw inferences from that tells you.
Because we want everybody to be Jesus, and everybody ain't. There's one Jesus, Christians, one.
And he left. He couldn't deal with us either.
That's not why he left, but okay. That's not why he left.
Hey, Daddy, they ain't listening, man. It's time for me to come home.
That is not why he left.
No, man.
But that's what we want. We do it in politics. We do it especially in religion. I'm like, the pastor's hype me. Oh, I'm just like, stop it.
We're obsessed.
Jesus.
We're obsessed with looking for signs, and that is a human thing.
Yes, that's it. We looking for perfection, and it ain't happening.
No, not even perfection. We're looking for signs. We're looking for something to reinforce our ideals. And unfortunately, because we won't focus on the policy and we won't focus on the mission, we keep getting distracted by the person, the personality.
Yes, we put exactly. And that's what I think happened in the Graham Plantner case. People got so obsessed with his personality, they failed to realize that he was wealthy. They failed to look at the sexual harassment and sexual assault allegations. They looked over all of that because he was saying the right message.
Yeah,
and
they were rationalizing, honestly, because I was watching it as it was happening. And it's exactly like you laid out. With Graham Plantner, first of all, you knew he had issues. He told you he had issues.
Yep, that he did too. He straight up said, "Hey, I got issues."
Yeah, and had his issues not been along the lines of sexual assault, then he'd have been fine. He could have had corruption issues, and he would have been fine. He could have had domestic violence issues, and he would have been fine. He could have had all kinds of issues. But in America, sexual assault that's a no-no. That's a red line, as it should be, except legally, right?
Yeah, because you have a
Socially, we
person.
will hang you out to dry. Legally, well, boys will be boys.
I want to agree with you, but we have a president that was accused and found guilty of 34.
Yeah.
34. Not one, not two, 34. And yet he's president.
He has 34 felonies on him or something like that. But that's not all sexual abuse. And the only sexual crime that he's been adjudicated for is a not criminal. So it's a civil matter. So he's, yeah, you know, but what he represented was something bigger than even that. See, Platinum's running for a Senate race. That's different, right? Like, we can moralize that guy. The president, if you're for Obama, he had to be perfect, right? Obama had to literally be perfect. You couldn't find a spot on that man.
Yeah, because Michelle wore a sleeveless dress.
And he had on a brown suit, right? But as far as but Obama's, his children had to be perfect. He had to be perfect. His wife had to be perfect, right? In order for the black man to get where the white man, the black man has to fly in order to get where the white man can walk. Okay, but
yeah,
Trump comes in, and we have to keep like that focus on. People didn't vote for Trump for Trump. They voted for Trump because he was the opposite of Obama, because of what he represented. He represented a return of the white male power structure. That's what he represented. And so they voted for it. And he became a thing. Like, Trump has never been the leader of MAGA. Trump has always been the figurehead of MAGA. So the people are able to put whatever they want on top of him. If it's racial grievance, they'll put that on him. If it's wealth, they'll put that on him. If it's anything that, whatever drives the individual or that group, they can just put it on them. It was so bad that even white Christians could put that on them. And we're like, how you do that? Well, they say, well, because God can use a broken vessel, right? So they put that on, right? Whatever you wanted him to be, he could be that. And they voted for him. And they did it twice. Well, they did it 3 times.
They actually did it 3 times. I was gonna say they did it 3 times.
But he won the last.
But I think that's just, we've got to, as a society, we've got to stop that. We've got to stop making, especially our politicians, because they all got something. I guarantee. I'm 1000% certain.
Well, it takes a certain type of personality to want to be in some of these roles. So those personalities, generally speaking, they are winners. They take, right? They seize opportunities, right? They have a particular wiring, right? And so those types of people don't often get very high without something.
Yeah. I mean, Sam Walton didn't become a billionaire just because he treated all his workers so well, and he just gave them all benefits. And look at him. Elon Musk did not make let me backtrack, trillions, because now he's a trillionaire, just because people are out here buying Teslas and getting on Twitter. And no.
He buys things, increases its social value, and extracts the wealth. That's what he does. He didn't, and he's very intelligent. The man is very intelligent, but I'm just saying, he himself didn't create any of his stuff, you know? Nope. So, but in America, we moralize wealth.
And we think wealth is success.
Yes.
Well, if they're good at business, that means they're good at running government. No, running government is different. Government cannot run like a business. It Agreed. Cannot. They are not the same thing. You cannot run government like you run a business. They are not the same.
But the only time you teach Americans about politics is in elementary, middle school, and high school, and the entire time you're lying to them. The entire time you're shading it in patriotism. So you can't blame the American people for not understanding how this stuff actually works.
No, it's intentional.
Right. So that's why we end up with this, where people are like, well, if he can run a business, he can run America. Okay, first with that statement, let's first look at the fact you said because he can run a business. Now let's look at his business. How big
Six
was this man's
bankruptcies.
business?
Six
Like I'm saying, but
bankruptcies.
like, well, not only that, but his business wasn't like a huge business. It had a lot of money because it was real estate, but there's like 12 people. That's not running IBM, right? That's not, you know. And then there's also the fact that governments don't operate like corporations for a reason, because the government has to be a loss leader. The government is providing the services and the infrastructure that allows the corporations to not have to pay for that. So it can go do what it needs to do. So corporations don't have to build their own roads. Corporations don't have to make sure that there's healthcare and police and all that stuff. They don't have to do all of that. They just pay their taxes like everybody else, theory. And the
Yeah, I was gonna
government,
say theory. Yeah, because Walmart
yeah,
ain't paid taxes in years.
yeah. Well, when we say they don't pay taxes, more often not they do. It's just that their rate of taxes is not what it should be, right? Like they might pay $2 million in taxes, and they'll be like, "Look, we paid $2 million in taxes. How much did you pay? Look, I'm an employee. Okay, so based off my pay, I paid $30,000 in taxes. That's a lot of money for me, but the equivalent for you is not $2 million. The equivalent for you is $20 million. So you did not pay your tax."
And
But
actually, and make this. I want to make this for all the people that always do one thing that I hate, and this is my last thought before we go. If y'all one more time come in here talking about socialism and communism are the same, would y'all please stop that? They are not the same. They don't mean the same. They don't operate the same. There's nothing of the oh my gosh, this one if you really want to irritate my nerves, if you really want to say Mugabe wants to breathe, he's a communist.
well,
First of all,
people speak in these generalizations because one, they don't know, which is not much of an excuse not to know. We got Google. You can literally go, you can find out.
you literally can look up the
Yeah.
definition.
And if you don't want to read, you can go to YouTube, and there's going to be a series of videos that'll teach you anything you want to know. But people people are looking for an alternative. If there's one thing through everything we talked about for the most part, is people are trying to find a way. They're trying to find a solution. And so they've been told that we have capitalism, so they're looking for socialism to be the solution. And I have been saying since I was a child that all the systems are flawed, because the moment you put people into the system, it breaks. It only
Right.
works on paper. And that is why in America, we don't have capitalism and we don't have socialism. We have a blend. It is an entire, every country you go across the world, there's a blend happening. Because if you don't
Right.
blend them, it falls apart. Just our balance is way off. Our balance is
Now,
hyper capitalized.
and like I said, I literally went to Google and typed in communism versus socialism, and I'll read it. In the Marx, socialism and communism are closely related in economic and political philosophies, but they differ in their goals and their execution. In Marxist theory, socialism is the transitional phase where the working class controls the means of production. And communism, the ultimate stateless, classless, and moneyless society that eliminates private property. So one says we control it, and the other says, we don't need no control. Let it all just hang out. They're different.
Well, the big difference is one is an economic system and the other one is a political system.
Right.
And
One is
that's
definitely
where people,
economic.
yeah, that's where people get confused. Socialism is economic. Socialism says, not the government owns everything. No, it's saying that labor actually owns the means of production. The people own the means of production. Means of production means your big industries. That's your electric companies, your water, the things that keep people alive. They should not be owned by corporations, and they really shouldn't be owned by the government per se. The only way it'd be owned by the government is because the people own the government, right? So that's where
Right.
socialism falls in. It's not that every business is a co-op. It's not that, there's no management. No, that's not socialism. I don't know what that is, but it ain't that. And then communism is basically, you know what? We're gonna flatten all this out. The government owns everything. The people are the government. So whatever you need, just get it. You need bread, go get bread. You need water, go get water. Whatever you need, it's there, go get it. But the problem is, once you put people into those systems.
Well, people always are the problem. People will always be people.
And you can't solve for people. Because like communism, let's just say if communism would make perfect sense if you were trying to put communism like on a farm and everybody, when we get done with the harvest and we get done slaughtering the hogs and all that stuff, we just sit down and we eat like Viking days or something. But once you start to you need a military, you need law enforcement, and you need to make sure there are hospitals, other stuff, and you're trying to do that in a communist way. Well, now we're trying to allocate resources. And when we start allocating resources, now we're supposed to treat everybody exactly the same. But if I'm in the position of helping to allocate the resources, why would I treat myself exactly like you? And then all that stuff starts breaking down. And you find yourself right back into either capitalism or some perverted version of monarchy dictatorship.
And if I hear communist China one more time, I'm like, China is not communist. China operates under a capitalist.
It's a blended system, once again. So their government structure is communist. They're the communist something. I can't remember what they call themselves, but they are communist. But it's largely like a name without much substance because it's an enlightened communist system. It's very capitalistic.
But they use capitalism is how they function.
Yeah. Right, but that's their economic model.
Yeah, that's their economic. Right? We're making it like, they can't do this and they can't do. No, Trump.
But it's communist from the standpoint of sitting on top of this. Yet we look at Xi and call him like a dictator, but he's not truly a dictator. He is kind of, but because of the way China Trump is not yet. He's trying to get there. So the way Xi works though is he's there. You cannot get rid of him. Like he's there. Until he decides to leave, he's there.
Yeah, like Putin.
Yeah, but he's on top of an enlightened economy and economic and political structure, which basically means he lets China operate like a democracy, but he's the final caller. Like he's the shot caller at the end, him and his team. So they can do a demand economy. So if they turned around and said, you know what, solar energy as a national priority, that's what we're going to do right now. Divert 15% of our national product to a solar technology. China has to do it. Like you got to do it. He said to do it. Go do it. It ain't going through Congress. It ain't going through all that. He said do it. You do it. In America, Trump could come out there and say if you want to. It ain't going to happen.
But you do have a Congress that bends at his will.
We do. And that's where I would like more of us to focus a lot more of our energy is on Congress, because that is technically the only real check on the presidency. Like we're looking at the Supreme Court like it should be checking the president, but it only should be checking the president if Congress isn't doing its job. So Congress isn't doing its job. So now the courts are there and they're not doing their job. So that's why Trump can run roughshod over these things. Like this war we're in, it's still illegal. Like it's still not a legal war, but we don't even bring that up. We just say, we talk about the war like it's Desert Storm or Desert Shield or Iraqi freedom. Those are declared wars. We are not in a declared war. You would think we are because of the way he talks and the way he acts, but Congress still has not authorized this war.
But they're talking about funding it, which is
absolutely
kind of to me like you're authorizing it. If you're going to give it money, then that means you're authorizing.
Well, so long as they're authorizing expenditures to the military, they haven't quite authorized spending for the war.
But we're okay. So that's just you doing it
It's
on the
semantics.
technicality.
It's semantics, but
Yeah, it very much is semantics because uh, my brain can't work that complicated way because I'm simple. I'm like, nah, if you're gonna give them money, that means you approve of it.
yeah, this is the system of, instead of robbing the bank, I'm going to pay off the branch manager. So when I go in the bank, the branch manager gives me money out of the vault, and then I leave. I did not rob the bank. You could say the manager robbed the bank, but I didn't rob the bank. I came in and asked for money, and he gave me money, right? And that's how this weird system is working. And can the Democrats stop it? Technically, no. But the problem I have with well, I have a lot of problems with Democrats.
They
But
write letters.
they write letters, or they wait out the clock like they're doing in Kentucky, or they send out their 2 or 3 functionaries. Like, everybody right now is clapping and cheering for John Ossoff. And I'm like, everything he's doing and saying right now, yeah, it's great. It's great. But you know what that tells me? That tells me for the last 12 years, he's been exactly as capable to do those things, or the last 6 years, he's been as capable to do these things as he's doing right now. And it just so happens that he's running for re-election right now. So why
Yeah,
wasn't
I
he
mean,
like this 2
Raphael
years ago?
Warnock wrote a bill. I was like, he wrote a bill. He wrote a bill.
He's up for
What?
re-election, right? So
No,
it's like these guys,
no, he's not a.
well, he's
Warnock's
on the
not a.
next cycle. He's the next
Yeah,
cycle.
he's in 2034, I think, because
He
he
would be
just won his.
20.
He's not up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Warnock's up in like 34
Is he?
or
Is it that
32.
late? I thought he was only 2 years out from also. I
When
don't know.
is
But
Warnock? Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna answer this question. Oh, we was both wrong. He's up for election in 2028.
okay. So they came in together, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. Because I forgot.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. They
They came
did
in
come in
together.
together.
So, but now you hear from these
Oh,
people.
yeah, that bump. Okay.
Yeah. So now you hear from these people because they're up for re-election. They haven't been active before this. And people say, well, Wes, because you weren't looking for them. No, I'm looking for them. Okay. And I know that the only time Warnock has popped his head up is when there was a black issue that happened that he could get in front of a microphone for. Same thing as Clyburn and the rest of the CBC. I know that's when I see him. And I know that that's when Cory Booker starts to find his way out of the woodworks. Or he might, back when Jasmine was in office, he would, or she's still there, but but
Yeah, she's there till January.
right. But if she was doing something, then Booker would show up so that he would be the voice from the Senate to share microphone time or something. But they're all posturing. So I'm like, in the time of an election cycle, I really am not impressed by anything any of these people do. I'm like, what were you doing in the off season? Why weren't you on C-SPAN? Why weren't you all over the news networks? And if the news networks don't want to pick you up because it's the off season, okay, cool. Everybody can have a web page or a YouTube channel. Everybody can get on a podcast. You can get on Joe Rogan if you want to go. At least people will see you there. You can go somewhere. You're choosing not to because you don't have to. And then when it's time to ask for money, and it's time, more importantly, to ask for votes, now you show up.
And that's why you have third parties.
It is.
Ding, 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 ding. You just said it. And I think that's what, like I said, and I say, because I was going to talk about Micah Beckwith saying that Muslims should not be allowed to worship, but I can't with him no more.
Who's he?
He's the lieutenant governor of Indiana. That it's gotten so bad in my state that I'm willing to put aside my dislike of the Democratic Party and just say, you know what, I'll just do it. That's how bad it's gotten here.
Yeah, for you, that says a lot. I still keep saying, no matter where we fall, I am leaning towards, or I'm exploring the third party, because I feel like we're at the point where Republicans are totally irredeemable, and the Democrats, they're not up to the challenge, and they will never be. I've just, like, I was playing defense all these years. Now there's no team left there, right? I mean, you could follow DSA politics, progressive politics, and you can nibble around the edges in our cities. But as far as like national politics, I really think we would be better for the Democratic Party to just go away. But they can't go away until the third parties can give us something to replace them. And there is no third party that's ready to replace them, because the moment that third party exists, it becomes what we now know as the Democrats, right? Like it becomes that duopoly, because the Dems will have to go. They're not going to just like fade.
Or what could have happened, and this happened when Roosevelt was president. Third parties could influence the legislation.
They could. They absolutely could.
Roosevelt.
That's the best
that was
play.
Not. Yeah, and that's a play, and and I know it's not what people who are running third party want to hear, but I'm like, we could win. We have to stop saying because it wasn't us, it won't work. We have to be about the policy.
Yep.
We shouldn't care. Like I said, if Trump signs reparations for the descendants of African, I'm gonna take the money. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking it. I'm not turning it down.
Perhaps, but what I'm saying is, if he were to do that, then that, and at minimum, that's a building block. Isn't that better than where we are? Right? But you got to look at the demons or the details, right? So
the demons are in the details.
Because it's coming from him, it's going to be problematic. So you got to look at it. Is this the one to take, or is this the one to build off of?
Yeah, I'm just saying, in my pretend world, if he signed the reparations bill that I want, the one that I want and the one I advocate for, I don't care. The policy.
Agreed.
If he signs Medicare for all, or what we call universal health care, and it gives me what I want, I don't care. I have to care more about the policy than who signed it, whether it's Trump, whether it's. But I think we get so caught up in third party. We want it to be us.
Think of it as
sometimes it ain't us. Sometimes
we're not in the
we're there to ignite the idea and to get it going. We're not necessarily there.
Yep.
Like all the people that marched with Dr. King, they were instrumental in the civil rights movement. We associate Dr. King with leading the civil rights unit, but he didn't. But that's what we associate with. But that doesn't mean there were people not pulling him to start talking about speaking against the Vietnam War and start talking about
all the real work happened among the masses. It was never the leader. It's never the leader.
It's never the leader. And I think that's what we want. We want to be the leader when that's not where the real work happens.
I think that's where third parties are in their development right now, because that has long been one of my criticisms of the third party movement, is the reason why you got so many of them and why they're all basically just little clubs is because each personality wants the chair. Like, they want the presidency. But what you gonna do with it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you have to want city council, you have to want mayor, you have to want the Senate, you have to want Congress, you have to want you got to get all of those things.
I want you to want to govern. I want you to govern and govern different. So if you're not going to build all the other infrastructure you're going to need, you're just going to be in the chair, which will put your name in the history book, but you won't be able to deliver anything for anybody because you don't have anybody to vote for you in the Senate and in the House, and you don't have any power in the states.
Right. But here's the one thing, and I will say Trump did do this right. He did something right. He actually went to the Libertarian Party convention. He spoke.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't see Kamala doing the same thing.
Who?
Kamala.
Oh, Kamala.
Vice President Harris.
Who is she going to go to?
PSL invited her. I know the Green Party invited her.
It goes back to what I was just saying, though. The
But
third
why?
parties on the left are glorified clubs. You have no power. Most of you don't even
But
have any ballot
okay,
access. The Green Party does, but they have long been a cult of personality of their own. They're not getting off of their candidate. So she didn't need them. Just like in this last rotation, Trump
I,
didn't even try to get a lot of the support on the right. He ain't need them. You're like, he even said
but
it
what
when they
I'm
asked
saying
him. He's
is,
like, they gonna
he
come.
put in
They
the
need to.
effort. When you put in the effort,
Doesn't matter.
I think that made a big. I think it made a big difference. I
I
think it.
think Trump won this election last time. So
Well, Trump won this one because people sat at home.
yeah, but I'm talking about for the people who did vote for him. Like, because I blame the people who sat at home. I blame the people who voted third party. I do, because you guys are part of the problem. But I will always blame the people who voted for this way more
But here's
than
my thing
anybody
with
else.
that. Give us something then to vote for.
Thank you. And that's where I condemn the Democratic
So,
Party.
yeah, so if you want to blame me for not voting for Trump, because yeah, I know I didn't. Heck, I had a whole podcast called "Congratulations to the 47th President of the United States, Dr. Cornel West." So I clearly told everybody how I was voting. So if you
Right.
don't want me to vote for him, tell me why I should vote for him. And
I agree.
when I hear I'm going to give Israel everything. Oh no, girl,
I hear you. And I agree. I agree. I think that's one of the reasons why I've given up on the Democratic Party. I've never really liked them, but it was where it was the only place for me to go vote. But I agree.
I can see why people voted for her. I can see it. But
I don't see where I think she
it.
would have been a good president. She's a good politician. She
I don't
just
think
wouldn't have been like in the history books as one of the best. She just would have been a president.
the first woman president that we've ever
Yeah,
had.
but she just would have been a president. As far as her job performance, she just would have been a president.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like funding to Israel wasn't going to stop.
Right.
Funding
Like
wars wasn't going to stop.
Obama funded them, Bush funded them, Reagan funded
Now,
them. America funds Israel.
Right. Do
That's
I
what we
think
do.
ICE raids would have went out of control? No. I can
Yeah, we
legitimately
wouldn't be in
say
a hot war without rain right
I don't think ICE would be running rampant like it is now under Harris.
now.
I
ICE
don't.
wouldn't exist in its form.
No, because she voted for ICE funding. She voted to
No.
increase ICE
It
funding.
wouldn't exist in its current form. It would have stayed like it was.
Was right. It wouldn't have been like, oh, we're gonna just kick down churches and get you while you worshiping and get you in school. I don't think
Shooting
that
people in the streets and all that. No, that wouldn't have been happening.
do
The
I
police still
think
would have been shooting people in the streets.
right. Do I think that we would be starving Cuba for
Maybe.
like because Cuba, what have they done to it? They literally have done nothing to us.
They have done nothing to us. They deserve none of the treatment that America has been posing. And I think it is the height of hypocrisy and lunacy that Americans, and it's white America, but they look at Cuba and they're like, we can justify us punishing them for eternity because they chose communism, and completely deciding not to look at why did they choose communism? Because capitalism refused to help them. And so in order to feed their people and take care of their people, communism said, we'll help you. It's like when people were talking, I watched a clip just recently when Nelson Mandela was being interviewed by a fork-tongued interviewer, who's a sister, but basically was like, well, why does South Africa align itself with like Cuba and stuff like that? And it was like, when we needed help, we went to the West. We asked for help.
Yeah, we came to y'all. Y'all said
y'all said no.
Burkina Faso. You were literally talking about Burkina Faso, the country in Africa. Yeah, Burkina Faso. I can never get that man's name right. Who is the president of? I'll remember his name here. Toure. Literally kicked out
the Europeans. Yeah,
the Europeans. And why are you aligned with Russia? Russia helped them. I said,
Yes.
we came to you and you wanted to exploit us. Russia and
Yes.
China are not exploiting us, they're helping
Correct.
us.
They do it a different way. America comes in like the traditional missionary. This is, hey guys, we'll help you, but you got to switch to our religion. You got to switch to our way of governance. You got to switch to our economic system. You got to do what we say. And when we tell you to go fight somebody else, you got to go do that for us too. And that's how but if you do all those things, we'll help you out. Whereas China and Russia come in and they're like, you know what? We're going to help you protect your people. We're going to help you have some type of we call it like domestic defense. We're going to help you do all these things, and we're going to invest in your infrastructure. But when we want to have a base here, you got to let us do it. And we want this percentage of your resources. Oh, and we're going to send some of our specialists here to work in your corporations and blah, 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 blah. They do a soft push, right? It's every bit of much a takeover as somebody else's, but they're not coming with a weapon saying, do it or else, right? Like America's so mad at all these countries in the Gulf right now because they won't do their bidding. And it's like, but what did you do for them? You told them, America said to these countries that we will keep you safe. And then the moment things got hot, America said, well, look, we're looking out for Israel. The rest of y'all just got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. And it's like, wait a minute. For anybody, and I promise this will be my last word. This is, when you hear we're going to spread democracy, you need to be asking yourself a million questions. How well is democracy working in America? I would say it's not. Matter of fact, I always say we have an oligarchy, not democracy, but that's a whole different argument for a whole different day. How well is it working? It's not about
it's working great.
Democracy.
It's working great for those in power. But here's a better question. When has it been successful?
It's never been successful.
There's nowhere we have exported democracy except Israel. And Israel doesn't even do democracy. It does an apartheid state. So we do not export democracy. We export power.
Exactly. That's what we do. We basically destroyed Venezuela. And then we got the nerve to get mad when they come here. Oh, these illegals are... You messed up their whole country. Where else are they supposed to go?
But this is where I come back. This is where I come back and I point at, we got to like follow the thread backwards, and it always takes you right back to Europe, because the UK, United Kingdom, right? They took over like half the globe and tore up all their countries, extracted all their wealth, and did all these things, put these people in third world situations and kept them there. And then when all these people started coming to the motherland, right? Because they're all British subjects. They're all British citizens now because you took over their country and you raped and pillaged the land. And so now, in order for them to have an opportunity to have a career, build a business, raise their families, have some sense of stability, guess where they got to go? They got to come to England. And as soon as they started coming back to England,
oh, no, you can't come here. You
Brexit happened, right?
You started it. You started it. They finished it. Deal with it.
Yes. And America does the same thing. It's just that our way of doing it is we don't claim these as our territories. We treat our territories terribly too, but we don't claim these as our territories. We just decided everything on the Western Hemisphere belongs to us. So South America, Canada, that is ours. So we played all through their land, and we played with their governments. We tested out, how do we do a coup versus how do we do this versus how we do that. And then when it all starts crumbling and falling apart, they start coming back.
We're gonna build a wall. Like, can't nobody get around the wall. Really? Really? You're really gonna do this?
And such is the barbarism of America. And this is where you'll notice I don't blame white America the same way as I used to, because I've evolved in understanding in my view anyway. This is an American problem because I hear black folks doing it and I hear white folks doing it. The way we demonize immigrants is
pathetic.
Horrible. And they're
stealing our jobs. What jobs are they stealing? Where are these jobs coming from? Like,
And
Where?
I mean, and you can't nail them down because they'll always do the Fox News pivot. But really, guys, if you're saying that they're stealing your jobs, one, who's giving them the job,
Thank you. That's the question.
right?
Who's giving
That's
them
number
these
one.
jobs?
Who is in the position to give the jobs? They're not giving them to themselves. And then two, this is to the Black community. We have been here as long as the white people have been. Why are we still in a position to where an immigrant coming across the border with no paperwork is able to compete for any job that we would be doing? Why is that? Right? There's something wrong with the structure of this nation that the second longest running group in the nation is threatened by low skilled labor. That's a problem.
Yeah, because we're still stuck in, and all work is good, honest work. I'm not making one job better than the
Agreed.
other. Only 25% of African Americans go to college. And I'm not saying that's where all the jobs are, because they're
No,
not.
I'll give you the squeeze. I'll give you the squeeze. So it wasn't long ago, 80s and 90s, right? But the people who did lawn care were us. The people
Yep.
who were framing and building houses, that was us. Okay. In the span of the 90s till now, then the immigrant class comes in. Now you have your El Salvadorians, your Mexicans, right? Your Latinos. Okay. So they started doing the labor jobs that we used to do. Not because we didn't want to do them anymore, not because we weren't tradesmen, but because they would do it cheaper because they were the new underclass. So they were being abused by the same group that was abusing us. And so what was left for us? We only had two places to go. We can go work for the government, which meant join the military or go to college and get a job with the government. Or you can continue to try to make your way into corporate America. We couldn't really do a good job of building our own infrastructure because the banks would not lend to us because we were uncertain risk, as far as they would call us. We were uncertain risk. So they wouldn't give us money to start a business unless that business was a church. It's the only business they'll let us lend for very easily. So that means college educated, go to government, go to military. Maybe you can get a job in corporate America, but that's going to be a small group of us that makes that transition, because you got to have money to get there, right? Or the ability to pay to be in these colleges and do these things. So what happens now? Now you have my class, which is low to mid-level corporate workers earning a decent living, and you have military, and now they're trying to push us out of there. You had government workers, and they're pushing us out of there. So that puts a whole lot of us in an unemployment status. And we can't start a business because we don't have infrastructure to do it. So now you need someone to be angry at. And unfortunately, you fight down, you don't fight up.
And that's the problem. We're fighting the wrong battle.
Absolutely.
We're fighting the wrong battle. We should be fighting the companies that, one, underpaid the immigrants. They're not getting the same salary that you would get. They're not getting the same health care benefits. They're not getting the same retirement benefits. They're getting less. So we need to work together to fight, punch up instead of punching down, because punching down ain't getting us nowhere.
But here's the thing, and I'm saying this real quick. In order for us to do that, we have to come together on a labor or as a citizenry. And the problem there is the people that we would want us to work with, which would be of every ethnic group. But in order to fight that fight, in order for us to come together and fight that fight, we have to then deprioritize our individual groups for that purpose. And it's hard to do that when you've been overlooked your entire time. So Black people don't want to do this, and Latinos don't want to do this, because each of us don't want to hear the other person, right? If we all came together and we're like, we're going to come to this as a class solidarity. We are labor, we are workers, we are American citizens. corporations have abused us, the government has abused us. We're going to fight and we're going to vote for our shared interests. That's nice in theory, but in order for that to happen, that means the Black group has to say, okay, well, reparations, I'm not even going to talk about it right now. We're just going to wait. Or the Latinos got to say, oh, immigration, we're not going to talk about that right now. We're just going to wait. We're going to focus on this thing as a collective. Well, the problem in that is that Black people feel cheated, Latinos feel cheated, other immigrant groups feel cheated, and the only people who get the benefit across the board are white people. They get the benefit for our numbers, but they don't have to hear our problems, right? So it's like you can't bring us together, and it's sad because we need to come together.
We should, and then those things that we want to work on separately, we can still work. Just because you get in a coalition doesn't mean you can't work.
But in the meantime, you have to not work on the things. You have to decide for now, until we achieve that particular objective, we're not going to talk about those other things because they only can divide. Well, we need to talk about those things because I don't trust you not to bring it up later.
Yeah, but I don't know how with that. I think the conversation needs to start because I see what we're doing now and it's not working. This division is just not working.
I think America
think the creation. Yeah, I think the what I call the Epstein class has created the division because they realize if we unite, we can literally turn this whole thing upside down.
Well, the Epstein class is the same group as the Barron class that
the Barron class.
Right, and you go back to the slave class and the mercantile class before it. So that group has always been here. And what happens is they rise in power, and then it gets so bad that they get pulled back down for a minute, and then we rise back up again because everybody wants to be on top. They just don't like who's up top and what they're doing right now. So coming out of this, I think, I don't know how long it's going to last, but what we call the Epstein class today, which is just the barons of the past, they're going to have a season. They are going to have a season. How long that season runs, I don't know. If we get our act together, it can end in 2028. But if we don't, it will take a violent revolution or a violent confrontation. And now that could be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. But it's going to happen. But it's just what pains me is that we could avoid all of this if we just decide, and this is my Pollyanna rainbow in the sky, but if we would just decide, what is it? What should it mean to be an American? And let's build that.
Where can everybody find you?
For the most part, you can find me on Complex Mind Simple Man on YouTube. That's the best place. Yeah, don't go to our United Core because that's not what I'm doing over there. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Everybody, thank you so much. I did not think we was gonna go 2 hours. I don't know why, because
When I'm here, it always.
Yeah, I just don't. I should just expect this, but I guess I was just hopeful. Don't know what happened to Jordan, but we'll get that rescheduled if we can. Join me. Let's see. We are going to have that's the announcement I wanted to make. So because I'm doing the Drama Academy, we are going to be having rehearsals on Thursdays. So that means that all the interviews I have scheduled on Thursdays are probably going to move to either Saturdays or Sundays. I have to contact each of my candidates to see can they move it from Thursday to Saturday or Sunday. I have moved one. He's going to be on next Monday. So we'll have a special Monday show coming up, and that's because I'm in the trenches of this drama camp, and trust and believe those children wore me out. I'm worn out. But it's good being worn out. It's good being worn out because the work needs to happen. But anyway, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And lastly, like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you all for watching. I will see you on Thursday, then Saturday, then Sunday, then Monday. Have a good evening. Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome.